welcome you all. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the squeeze casting process. In the previous lectures, we have discussed about high pressure die casting process and low pressure die casting process. I will give you a link in the description. You can check. So in this session, we are going to see about the squeeze casting process. Now let us just see what is squeeze casting process. The squeeze casting process is a combination of two processes. One is casting process and forging process. So if you combine the casting process with the forging process, you will get the squeeze casting process. So what do you mean by squeezing? The squeezing is nothing but the applying the compressive load or compressive stress to an object. Okay. That is the squeezing. So in the casting process, normally what we do is we just melt the metal. Okay. Then we just pour the molten metal into the die cavity. Okay. Once solidification is done, the component will be taken out by breaking the mold in case of sand casting, or it will be taken out, it will be separated from the die, the help of ejector pin in case of permanent mold casting. Okay. So the squeeze casting process comes under the permanent mold casting process, and this process is similar to the die casting process. Okay. So in the casting process and the forging process, if you combine that, we will get the squeeze casting process, and this process has many advantages. Okay, so each process has its inherent merits and demerits. If you take casting process, the casting process has many advantages, like the huge component can be easily manufactured with the help of casting process, and the complex shapes can be easily casted. The casting process is we'll be able to, with the help of casting process, we'll be able to manufacture a um, very complex products, complex shapes. Okay, and the forging process has many advantages, like the directional properties. Like in forging process, the directional properties will be very good, and we will get a high dense product with good mechanical properties. Okay, by combining the casting process and forging process, we'll be getting a product with good mechanical properties and also with a good grain refinement. Okay, so this is the advantage of the squeeze casting process, and to obtain these advantages, okay, we are moving to the squeeze casting process. Okay. So this is the outline of the process. So in this process, the main objective is to avoid the shrinkage defects. Okay, to avoid the shrinkage defect and to avoid the gas entrapment, because in all the casting process, these are there are the tendency to form different kinds of defects. Okay, so among the defects, the shrinkage defects and the porosity is a very big problem. So in order to avoid these two defects, we are going to squeeze casting process. So in this process, the product or uh, the product is made by applying the pressure. Applying the pressure, because in forging process we usually apply the pressure, and we will deform the shape of the metal. So here in the squeeze casting process, the metal is during the solidification, until the solidification, the pressure is the heavy pressure is applied. So under the heavy pressure, the metal will be solidified, and it will be free from the shrinkage cavity, as well as the low gas entrapment resulted in the elimination of the porosity. And here the molten metal is solidified under 50 to 140 megapascal pressure. Just imagine a high amount of pressure is applied in the molten metal, okay, during the solidification. And so this solidification pressure is responsible for the reduction in the shrinkage cavities in the castings. And the resultant product, which will be produced from the squeeze testing process, will be having a good mechanical properties, and it also has many advantages, like the lower shrinkage cavities and lower die cost and very high quality surface with fine details. Because the main reason behind going for the permanent mold casting is to have a good quality surface, because the good quality surface is not possible with the sand casting process. Okay. Whereas the high surface finish can be obtained through the die casting processes, the die casting process or the permanent mold process. Because in permanent mold process, we use metallic dies. So normally the metallic dies will be having the good surface finish. Okay. And uh, the materials to be cast out in the squeeze casting processes are the aluminum, magnesium, and copper alloys. So this squeeze casting process is much more similar to the cold chamber die casting process. In the cold chamber die casting process, we use comparatively high melting point metals like aluminum, magnesium, and copper alloys like brass kind of alloys. And this is the process sequence. Okay, so in the first diagram, okay, so in this process consists of a die, then punch, okay, and we are also having an induction furnace. In the induction furnace, the molten metal is kept in the induction furnace, and we are also having a ejector pin. Okay, so then once the solidification is completed, the finished solidified component will be separated from the die with the help of the ejector pin. Okay, so these are the important elements involved in the squeeze casting process. One is die, punch, and the furnace. In some cases, we use the ladle. Okay, ladle to pour the molten metal into the die, and also an ejector pin. Okay, so in the first step, the die and punch is separated, and the molten metal is kept in the induction furnace. The second step, the molten metal which is held in the induction furnace, it will be poured into the die cavity. So how much amount of molten metal will be poured? So it is a predefined quantity. It's a predefined quantity and is kept in the furnace. Okay. So once the process, the lubrication and the preparation is completed, the, the molten metal will be poured into the die cavity. In the third step, the punch will be lowered and it will mate with the die. Okay, now the molten metal which is poured into the die cavity will be filled in the empty spaces, or it will be filled in the clearance between the die and the punch. And here, the 50 to 140 megapascal pressure is applied. Is applied during the solidification process. So this pressure is continued till the solidification is done. So once the solidification is completed, the punch will be retracted back to its original position, and with the help of the ejector pin, the solidified component is taken out. So this is the process sequence of squeeze casting process. Thank you.